Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into powerful and complex topics that are shaping our democracy and our world. From authoritarian ideologies to election interference, big money in politics, and radical policy agendas, we'll explore how these forces connect and why they matter right now. So, grab a seat and let's break down what's really going on behind the scenes. Let's start with the growing signs of authoritarianism within the U.S. and what that means for the future of our democracy. Seth Abramson gives us a stark look at Trump's increasingly authoritarian rhetoric, especially his fixation on extreme punishments, including talk of executions for his critics. Abramson warns that this isn't just rhetoric, it signals a shift in Trump's mindset toward a punitive authoritarian approach. Building on this, Thomas Zimmer discusses the fragility of American democracy itself. Zimmer points out that while the U.S. has democratic ideals, our system is relatively new as a pluralistic, multiracial democracy, making it vulnerable to regression. He highlights the importance of defending democratic institutions against authoritarian tendencies. Daniel Miller then connects Trumpism to historical fascism, arguing that Trump's rhetoric and disregard for democratic norms are alarmingly similar to the conditions that led to fascism in the past. Miller emphasizes that we need to address this openly and directly, as Trumpism poses an existential danger to democracy. These analyses remind us that authoritarianism isn't just a distant threat, it's a real, present danger. Recognizing these patterns is crucial for safeguarding the democratic values we hold dear. Now, let's look at election interference and voter suppression, two major threats to the integrity of our electoral process. First, we turn to Vic, who reports on German politician Dietmar Woidke's interactions with sanctioned Russian officials. Despite sanctions, Woidke's connections with Russia raise serious questions about foreign influence in Western democracies. This serves as a reminder that international alliances can have complex, and potentially dangerous, effects on democratic stability. Here in the U.S., Max Pflugrath shed light on domestic voter suppression efforts. The Georgia GOP recently filed a lawsuit targeting hand-delivered ballots in Democratic-leaning counties. Pflugrath noted that despite losing in state court, the GOP continued its fight in federal court, specifically focusing on counties likely to vote Democratic. This selective approach to ballot challenges is part of a broader suppression strategy that swayed outcomes in close races. These stories highlight the multifaceted nature of election interference. Whether through international connections or targeted legal challenges, these tactics weaken trust in the electoral system. Being cognizant of these insights remind us that recognizing and countering these strategies is crucial to preserving the integrity of our elections. Next, let's discuss how money is shaping our political landscape. Emily Galvin Almanza offers a critical perspective on the outsized role of campaign finance in American politics. Galvin Almanza argues that the vast sums pouring into elections are driving division and sidelining voices that represent ordinary citizens. Her call for campaign finance reform is a push to restore balance and reduce the sway of wealthy donors. Miss Maria T. delves into another dimension of financial influence, focusing on high-stakes speculation tied to political motives. She reveals how figures like Steve Bannon and Guo Wengui engaged in speculative investments with hedge fund manager Kyle Bass. These risky financial maneuvers, intended to disrupt markets, show how financial manipulation can intersect with political agendas. These insights make it clear that money in politics isn't just about funding, it's a tool of influence and, sometimes, manipulation. What's clear is that without reform, financial power will continue to dominate, skewing representation and eroding public trust. Finally, let's look at the radical conservative agendas that are reshaping our political and social landscape. Judd Legum takes us through Project 2025, a conservative policy blueprint backed by the Heritage Foundation. This sweeping plan advocates for major conservative reforms, from rolling back abortion rights to centralizing presidential power. Legum warns that if implemented, this project could fundamentally change the structure of our government, consolidating control in ways that threaten democratic checks and balances. E. Rosalie provides a real-world example of the impact of these conservative agendas. She discusses Iowa's abortion ban and the resulting healthcare crisis in rural areas. As restrictions push healthcare providers out, these regions are becoming maternity care deserts, endangering community health and demographic stability. These stories highlight the consequences of radical policy agendas. Our analysis shows that these aren't just isolated policies. They're part of a coordinated effort to reshape society according to a rigid ideological vision. Challenging these agendas is essential to preserving a diverse and inclusive society. As we've explored today, each of these issues, from authoritarianism to election interference, from the influence of big money to radical agendas, poses a unique threat to our democracy. Together, they reveal a disturbing pattern of concentrated power and eroded democratic norms. Here at Guardians of Democracy, we believe that understanding these challenges is the first step toward protecting our future. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Remember, defending democracy isn't just a right, it's a shared mission. Stay informed, stay engaged, and let's work together to protect what matters most.